Say, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I feel like I'm watching a spy movie right now. Yeah, all this stuff going on. I feel like I'm watching a spy movie right now. Yeah. This shirt look bad, but that's all right. This is the shirt I was working out in. Y'all gonna have to deal with it. I feel like I'm watching a spy movie. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and we about to get the ball rolling. Yeah, we gonna get the ball rolling. And I'm gonna explain to you some of the spy movie stuff. Now we gonna bounce around into the news. We're gonna talk. We're gonna cover the Pope. Then we're gonna cover some spiritual warfare stuff. Then we're gonna cover transhumanism, and then we're gonna get into James O'Keefe. And then, yeah, I feel like I'm watching a spy movie, man. This is two videos spliced together. The one I was recording before, then when I went to go look to see what James O'Keefe was saying, I added into it. I feel like I'm watching a spy movie, and you watching it too, baby. Let's go.
Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? One and only James Williams Dark Waters, and I'm back. And I hope you guys will hit the like button because we need it hit so we can stay in the algorithm. And when you see the shorts, hit the like button. Today we're getting ready to jump into some news and kind of dig into some things. Yesterday we did some deep digging. Today we're going to do a bit more deep digging. We're still waiting on the information from James O'Keefe to come out. Hasn't come out yet. I suspect it's going to be bombshell, devastating news. And I'm hoping that the signals that I'm seeing about it being about Pam Bondi are off. But I will say this. If it has something to do with Pam Bondi, then so be it. Hopefully it's just to the extent of her defending Pfizer, like it's been come out in the news. And people saying she's compromised, and she's not woefully compromised. But I want to remind you, when Matt Gaetz was the one that they were trying to put in her position, the whole damn government fought against Matt Gaetz, and then everybody accepted Pam Bondi. So that was always a thing that was off, and I found to be suspect, but we don't know, so we shall see. Hopefully this will come out today. If it doesn't come out today, then we speculate as to whether the man is even alive anymore, and we will go down that road of speculation. Now we get into it. We had to go to Uncle Alex. Yeah, we had to go to Uncle Alex to get the truth.
There are reports, and there's supposedly the first tranche of it's coming out today, that James O'Keefe's, one of the two big stories he's breaking is about someone in the Trump administration covering up Epstein. And then he put out a little short trailer yesterday that shows an image or still shot of video of Pam Bondi. So he didn't tell me the specifics. When he called me and me alone as a dead man switch, so I was, I guess, flattered by him. He's like, I think you might be the only person that I know has the integrity to tell this in case something happens. And then when he told me, I was like, yeah, you are in danger, buddy. He told me the other stuff, too. But he wouldn't even say who in the administration. I made some phone calls. And I told the crew over the weekend, I said, it's Pam Bondi. According to my sources. And because the White House already knows about this. So I wouldn't even tell the crew last week what the specifics were because I don't want to endanger them. And then there's two other big stories, and it looks like in this little promo video that he put out, he's kind of putting the three together because it's a big Pfizer news. And then some more Epstein news connected to the Democrats. But I'm going to stop right there and wait and see what he puts out today. So we're going to be watching, obviously, his X account, Keith Media Group, very, very closely. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of items exclusive.
This is why you got to respect Alex. And it explains the messaging coming out today from Pam on all these arrests and all the rest of this stuff. Wow. That's now that right there, ladies and gentlemen. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a doozy. This is about to get real interesting. This is about to get real interesting. Does he talk anymore? Or he just make us promo. I want me some of this methylene blue. Um, this is about to get real interesting, ladies and gentlemen. But we shall see. So just for you guys to be on the lookout, look out for the data from James O'Keefe. Let's go to the spiritual warfare front. Let's talk about some things real quick. We are in the middle of choosing a new pope, and I think it's important that we talk about why it's important that everyone prays that God has his way and his will and is appointing the pope. The Catholic Church has appointed the pope and created a position of pope, claiming to be in the office of Peter, and that it was the office of Peter. When you look up and research the actual pope, they say they sit in the office of Peter, and it's very important. Matthew 16:18, it says, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades or hell will not prevail." So the Pope, who men have decided they're in the position of Peter, it's supposed to be the place where the gates of hell shall not prevail. And it's supposed to be a rock that holds back the gates of hell. We know that the last Pope was the exact opposite of that. And so if you plan to pray for the right Pope, use that scripture and pray that scripture. Most people pray, Lord, will you do? No. Lord answers to his word. So give him his word. And I want to say it's Isaiah 53:6. It says, "Bring me into remembrance. Come, let us contend together. State your case so that you may be acquitted." He says, bring him into remembrance of his word, what he said. So if you want to have effective prayers, then you are going to pray scriptural prayers and not just go begging and whining. You're going to pray scripture. All right. And let's touch upon the candidates for the actual Pope. And I think it's interesting because MSNBC is covering it like it's an election, but this is how huge it is. It really is huge for the world. To have a Pope that's anti-Islam will be very significant as Islam expands all over the world, and as we see Christians being persecuted all over the world.
NBC's Steve Kornacki joins us now at the big board for something a little different than his normal big board fare. But Steve, not dissimilar from what you normally do, just maybe a different setting. Walk us through what happens next.
Yeah, different kind of election. No one's going to be an announced candidate. There's not going to be ads. There's not going to be rallies. We're not even going to officially know the exact results. We'll know the winner, but I'll tell you about how they burn the ballots here in a second as part of the procedure. So what's going to happen? It's the College of Cardinals, members of the College of Cardinals who will be the voters in this election, but not every member of the College of Cardinals, only those younger than 80 years old. And there are 135 of them. They call them cardinal electors. That's the electorate for this race. Then they are sworn to secrecy as they enter that conclave. And at the end of each round of voting, the ballots are taken and they are burned. So there is literally no record of the exact results. They just know if somebody won or somebody didn't. Per day, it's a maximum of 4 rounds of voting. And no matter how many ballots it takes, a 2/3 supermajority is going to be required to be the next pope. Now, let's take a look at that electorate of a 135 cardinal electors. Here's something interesting. This has to do with how Pope Francis ran the church. His agenda, in part here in terms of administration, was to broaden out the power in the church, to take it away from Rome, away from Europe, where it's been concentrated traditionally, and to spread it out. So he appoints the members of the College of Cardinals. And again, among this group of voters, look at this. The last time there was a conclave, the one that elected Francis, more than half came from Europe, under 40% this time. Meanwhile, look at the growth in Asia. Again, was part of Francis's agenda as Pope. It was to expand the church's reach through cardinals in places like Asia, where there's growing Catholic populations. North America, by the way, about the same, a tick down from 2013. Also keep in mind here, along those same lines, 72 different countries will be represented by cardinal electors this time. That's a big jump from the last one, 2013. Again, that's the work of Francis there. And Francis will also loom over these proceedings in this way. Of those 135 cardinal electors, 108 were appointed by Francis. That is 80% of them. They became cardinals because Francis appointed them cardinals. Now, these are some of the...
He just told y'all they got a deep state and a papacy. And so he just basically told you there's a deep state in the papal candidates. But go ahead, keep on going.
Names that are out there right now. Again, nobody announces their candidacy. There's no endorsements. We really don't know how they stack up against each other here. But
NBC Steve Kornacki
became cardinals because Francis appointed them cardinals. Now, these are some of the names that are out there right now. Again, nobody announces their candidacy. There's no endorsements. We really don't know how they stack up against each other here. But these are some of the names you're seeing here. For instance, Peter Erdo from Hungary, maybe on the more conservative side. Luis Tagle from the Philippines, maybe more on the progressive side. But when you see these lists, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is take it with a grain of salt. Because, again, the last time around in 2013, when they had a conclave, when they had lists like this, Pope Francis's name, the future Pope Francis's name, was not generally on them. So surprise is very possible here, especially with all of these new cardinals, many of whom have really never met each other before.
Yeah, a little difficult to do an office pool around the papal candidacy, Steve Kornacki, but at least you've set us up for success if there are any plans for that. We appreciate it.
You got it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
It's interesting. That's going to be one of the biggest decisions in the realm of spiritual warfare, globally. Those of you who were praying up until the election of Donald Trump, you noticed that when Donald Trump's election happened, that there was a change in the spiritual realm of the nation, and the feel of the nation was different. Felt like a different place. It felt lighter, right? Because the leadership had transitioned. And then when we got the inauguration, the transition was completed. And leadership plays a major role in how the spirit realm truly responds. The next thing that pertains to spiritual warfare in our government would be what's going on with transgenders in the military. And no matter how you feel about that issue, it's very important to understand that you, to a certain extent, you cannot have, well, not to a certain extent, you cannot have those forms of perversion, not only in government, but in military, because they're positions of authority. And there's no need for me to go and pull up the images of all the men dressed as women that were generals and all the rest of this crap. But how do you plan to beat another nation at war when your generals don't know what gender they are? How do you plan to conquer another nation or defend a nation when your generals don't know what gender they are? Senior political commentator Scott Jennings utterly destroyed CNN panel that could not wrap their head around the fact that President Donald Trump has authority to ban transgenders in the military. I'm hoping that here it is. Let's take a listen. And the simple fact that this issue, which that people who identify as that are even smaller portion of the population than the people who identified as gay and lesbian. So there's this contention over such a small portion of the American population that it's utterly and totally ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? For example, black people are 13% of the United States population, historically been 13% because we kill each other at high rates. We abort our babies at even higher rate. And so we've been 13%. You can't tell me you got as many transgender people as you have as black people in America, because it's not there. And that makes you less than 13%. And whatever the percentages of gay, lesbian, and gay people in the United States of America, it's a smaller percentage than that. And that percentage of people is not a significantly huge percentage of people in the United States of America. So when we see ourselves having this contention and this fight over this small group of people, then you know it's warfare. It's spiritual warfare, because it's a spirit that's trying its best to rule and reign over a nation. It's trying to take a throne in a nation. And it had thrones inside the military. And when you saw the Biden administration White House, you saw it inside of the White House and on the White House lawn, and it was establishing thrones. Let's go to the next part.
Allowing transgender troops to serve hurts lethality and it hurts readiness. What do you say to that? Well, there's no evidence of that. I think that, if that was the case, we've seen transgender people serving honorably for the last several years. And what has changed between now and then? They've just woken up to a new administration who has a different outlook on their ability to serve. So I think that, if you talk to people who are serving on active duty alongside transgender troops, they're not making these complaints. The leaders in the military are not making these complaints. These are political complaints about military service. So I think that all of the courts that have looked at this issue and looked at it, have said there's nothing in fact to back up what the government is claiming here. In fact, the judges challenged them to produce evidence, and they couldn't produce any evidence. So I think it's a really dark day for our country, where basically we're allowed to discriminate against a class of people.
Scott, if they can't produce evidence that this actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness, I mean, how is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military. I mean, regardless of anyone's opinion or anybody's, whatever side you're on, whether you're for it or against it, at some juncture, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, and he has and should have broad latitude to determine how the armed forces should be operated. And so I think that's what he's doing here. I think that's ultimately what the court said today, was that the president is the commander-in-chief, and we gotta respect that. Under our Constitution.
But I mean, to her point, if there's not a downside, and it's been going on for years now, and I'm just presenting your argument to them.
It's been going on under Biden. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
What is the argument other than Trump, Hegseth, just doesn't want trans people in the military?
There needs to be no other argument. That's the point that Scott Jennings is making. That's the problem with this society we're in. We don't respect authority. And you see it all over the place. The president makes that decision. It's not debatable. There ain't even nothing to sit here and talk about. Now, I can give my personal opinions on why. I don't want to give somebody a weapon who does not know what gender they are. I don't want to teach them how to blow up buildings. If they don't understand the basis of what gender you are, I don't want to teach you how to blow up no buildings. I don't want to teach you how to fly A-10 Warthogs. No. That's like saying, okay, now we put blind people in the infantry. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I think that the president, we'll ultimately see. I think that's why the court is allowing the president to move forward with this until it works itself through the court system. Maybe the Supreme Court will be the final arbiter here to say, yeah or nay, you can do this. But ultimately, I think the court is showcasing deference to the executive, saying that, look, you're the president, you're over the military. You do, for the most part, get to sort of dictate the standards of our military. And I don't really see how you can push back against that. Again, we'll see what happens in the court.
I can.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can. What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no. No, wait a second.
And this is what I be talking about, how it's always about black people. This is why you see all these videos online, like black people attacking white people. It's because liberals use black people as a tool. I know how it could work. What if the president wake up and said he don't want black people in the military? Oh, really, Trick? So now let's make it about blacks. And let's make it about race. Let's make it about the black people. And now let's equate the plight of black people to the plight of lesbian and gays and transgenders and trans what do you call them when they believe they're a robot? It's the most insulting thing on the planet. But they constantly do it.
It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous because you're discriminating against a group of people in a very similar way. No,
I knew you were going to say that, but
excuse me. Well, I'm glad you.
I'm curious. Why is it ridiculous? I mean, you just said the president should be the one who just decides.
Right.
So if he decides, he wakes up tomorrow and says, I think it's bad for morale, it's bad for cohesiveness, for there to be black people in the military, Latino people in the military. Just in her hypothetical scenario, what's the difference between that and what we're seeing here?
I mean, Are you really going to go down this ridiculous?
I'm just.
I'm sorry. Is she,
I mean,
I'm
this is
asking
ridiculous.
basic-
This is a ridiculous argument.
Well, okay.
The president,
what they've already
the
said
president
about
and the
DEI.
secretary of
Let me
defense,
just-
the president and secretary of defense have an argument here. They believe that readiness and unit cohesion and overall operations of the military are impacted by this. That is their opinion, and that is the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who the Constitution gives broad latitude to run the armed forces. So that's their opinion. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have one. You're also allowed to run for president and become commander-in-chief yourself. But until you do, he's the commander-in-chief.
I have to just say, I didn't hear an answer to the hypothetical, right? I just didn't hear it.
Though.
I didn't. I mean, okay. The definition of discrimination, according to the American Psychological Association, discrimination is the unfair or prejudicial.
That's enough of this bull crap. I'm sorry. It's highly offensive. But again, it is the warfare that America is under. It truly is a part of the spiritual warfare that America is under. That's why they show Baphomet with breasts like a woman. I mean, it truly is the warfare. And then it goes deeper than that, because that warfare is the beginning of the next phase. Because if I can get you to believe that you can be any gender, then I can move you to the point to where you can be like part man, part damn robot. You know what I'm saying? That way you can accept things like this. Humanism versus transhumanism. And it's important to understand that this movement is not really about men that believe they're women and women that believe they're men. It's about moving the dial, or moving the Overton window to a point to where we can get to, you are a transhuman, meaning you're no longer human.
I'm interested because we just talked about this extremely popular book of Harari, Homo Deus. As I have you here, Natasha, and I have a theologian like Miroslav, I'm interested to see what, according to the two of you, is the difference between the God-man, Jesus Christ, and the man-God, which apparently, according to Harari and a few others, we can create through our technological things, and which is one of the reasons why...
See? You see? You see what I'm saying? It's easy. I mean, it's easy like 1, 2, 3. What's the difference between the man God, Jesus Christ, and the man that we can create with our technology? I mean, it's easy to see where this wickedness is going, but we're going to let them talk a little bit.
And maybe you can start with that, Natasha. You are also literally in the business of suspending life, and with the idea that at a certain moment, technology will be on that level that people can live much longer or even forever. And the question then related to this is, what's the connection between our mortality and our morality?
I don't use the term immortality because I think it's a misnomer. I think it's heavily sequestered to the myths of the early proto-scientists, the Taoists. And it's also, think about Sartre, no exit, you can't get out. It's, you're stuck there forever. So I think of immortality is not only a pipe dream, but it's an impossibility. Our solar system has a lifespan. Our sun has a lifespan. So alternatively, I think about a limited lifespan for a person to live as long as he or she desires or is capable. And if not, then cryonics is an alternative until later medicine can catch up with the disease. But looking at this post-human era, I don't think we're there yet. I think that has been subscribed to us by the academics in postmodernism. And I think they reached out for the post-humanist era because they had no sensibility within academics and in the mainstream about technology and the advances in artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, nanomedicine, nanotechnology, CRISPR, like with genetic engineering or gene therapy, et cetera, at all. So I think there was this leap. I think we're in the transhuman era, where the transhumanist era is about a human in transition to becoming something other. Now, what is that other? That could be an evolved human. It could be a human merging with artificial intelligence. It could be a human that, in my view, would become more humane. So that's how I look at it in that regard. So immortality, no. Limited lifespan, yes. Redefining death, we've been doing that for eons, determining when someone dies and then we find out, oh, we could have cured that. We used to hold a mirror up to someone's nose, listen to their heart. We can, bring people back to life that 100, 200 years ago, even 50 years ago, were considered dead. So that transition to becoming a post-human, but not non-biological, not some avatar, some automata out there, but a human that's in the stage of post-biological, meaning not having a shelf life, not limited by our genetic makeup.
Right. So
The concept and idea of not being limited by your genetic makeup means that you're not human. This is how, and look, this lady looks crazy as hell. I'm sorry. She looks like she's eat up with demons. But just so you understand, the concept of getting beyond your existing genetic makeup, when you start to exchange your genetic makeup, your ass is no longer human, man. That your genetic makeup is what makes you human. So she just all that crap to say, yeah, I'm talking about not making humans. I talked about the other day when I was doing the interview with Stan Deo. When I highlighted the interview with Stan Deo, which when we talked about the anti-gravity ships and how they had to already gene edit humans to function and work in those things. Because if you're in a space where time is slowed down, right? Excuse me, time is slowed down or time is sped up, either one. Especially in the case of time speeding up, your body cannot handle that. The human body can't handle that. And so you have to do something to the human body to try and bolster it against being in that field of time dilation. Time dilation being out of time speeding up or time slowing down, just time changing. And we find ourselves at the doorstep. I don't even think we're at the doorstep. I think we're beyond the point of transhumanism. I believe there are transhumans on this planet now. Gene-edited humans who are no longer humans. China has already talked about doing it. It's just they're working people into the understanding of it. So people like us who actually do research, this was April 5th, 2025, they posted this. People like us who actually do research, we find these things and we discuss them. When we start talking about the sheeple, the average individual who pays no attention to anything, they won't come to understanding of this for about 6 more years. It might be 2031 before they understand it because it'll be rolled out in front of them. It's kind of like the AI and the robots, I call them robots, are being rolled out in front of them. Anybody who's been studying it has known that it's been there for a long time, but they roll it out slowly in front of you. DW, I don't understand where you're going with this video. I never understand where I'm going with the video. The Lord tells me to sit down in the morning and pick this and pick this and pick this and pick this, and then I follow the trail that he puts. I don't ever know. And that's something I can tell you. If you want understanding of higher level concepts, don't try and understand them yourself. Ask him to lead you and guide you to the understanding. The Bible says, call on to me and I will show you great and marvelous things that you know not of. That's close. I butchered it. So I just be like, Lord, what you want me to talk about today? And make me understand what's going on. It's that simple. It's super simple. It's super duper simple. Now, when we start, the point I was making is that the altar of trans really is the beginning phases of transhumanism to get men and women prepared for transhumanism. If they can get you to accept that, which is why they're fighting for it so desperately, it's not about the people. It's not about that person who decide they're going to be another gender. They don't give a damn about that person. They give a damn about moving humanity to the point to where humanity is no longer in the image of God. It's why he starts the conversation with this.
I'm interested because we just talked about this extremely popular book of Harari, Homo Deus. As I have you here, Natasha, and I have a theologian like Miroslav, I'm interested to see what, according to the two of you, is the difference between the the God-man, Jesus Christ, and the man-God, which apparently, according to Harari and a few others, we can create through our technological things, and which is one.
All right, that's the question, right? Let's get back to, I want to hear the theologian's response if he gets an opportunity to respond. No, she's talking. And the theologian doesn't respond till the end.
What has just been said, I'm very ambivalent about the idea of not just posthumanism but transhumanism as well. I kind of think that it's beautiful to be human and kind of discovering the beauty of what it means to be human. So whatever we want to do in terms of extension of life, whatever we want to do in terms of curing the ills that befall humanity, and God knows much suffering is inflicted upon human beings by illness, by all sorts of other ways. But it would seem to me that nonetheless, the beauty of our humanity ought to be preserved. And I think the great challenge before us is to say, why is it important for us to be human, to remain human? And I think you mentioned, and I think that was in your question as well, that somehow science should help us answer this question. And I have difficulty with that. I think science is an incredibly important, marvelous tool. I think technology is absolutely marvelous. Science, not just tool, but also explaining reality to us. Technology, enhancing various aspects of our lives. It's absolutely fantastic. But one thing it cannot do, it cannot tell me what ought to be. It cannot tell me what I ought to want. I want something, what I desire something, but what is worth desiring? What kind of human being is worth being? That question, I think, is fundamental to the nature of our humanity.
Then you all don't understand the philosophy of transhumanism, because the main core tenet is more humanity, more humaneness.
But let's formulate the question differently. The question would then be
more humaneness. That's a big damn scam. Listen to the scam of it. The purpose of transhumanism is for you to be more humane. And what they mean by being more humane is it's more humane for you to live longer. It's more humane for you not to die of a disease. It's more humane for you to have these options, right? What that woman is saying is they want to play God. That's what she's saying. It's more humane because we're playing God. And so we decide what's humane for you. Right? Oh, your uncle had a car accident and he's got a severed spinal cord. We can fix his spinal cord by giving him a digital spinal cord. And by the way, we'll give him this injection and he'll live for 500 years. The question I pose to you is it humane for a person to live for 600 years? I mean, really think about it. Think about your life. I'm 48 years old. Do I want to live to be 148 with things that I've seen? And what happens to a person spiritually when they live that long? How many of you guys think a person will be able to keep their salvation over 148 years? Just with the world constantly bombarding them. I mean, you get kids they're targeting kids in elementary schools with perversions and wickedness right now. You don't think a man who gets to be 148 years old, 200 years old is not screwed up beyond repair? Come on, man. In the Bible, it talks about people living long. And they participate in every form of wickedness that they could ever imagine. I believe the Bible said the hearts of man was desperately wicked. There was nothing that they had not imagined and done because they had got that wicked because they had been on the earth that long. To me, these people want to usher in an age of wickedness that's extended forever and have the ability to decide who lives and who dies. Because the person who's telling me it's more humane means that, okay, I get to decide what's the way to treat people. Yeah, we take it out of the hands of life and of God and consequences of actions, and it's more humane. You lost your damn mind. You done lost every bit of your damn mind. I don't know if y'all with me, if you're following. Most people don't make it this far. You know what I'm saying? And I heard somebody say, well, DW, man, your video's too long. I can't watch them. Well, when I make a 20-minute video, people watch 10 minutes. When I make an hour video, people watch 30 minutes. So I'm just going to make the video, and then you watch what the hell you watch. You know what I'm saying? Those who God intend to get something out of it, they're going to get it. Those who don't intend to get something out of it, oh, hell, that ain't my problem. I can't do nothing for you. It is what it is, but I'm going to do my job. I am going to do my job. I want to touch upon something else. Let's go to the judges real quick. When we start talking about these judges and we look at what's going on, it's gotten to the point where, quite frankly, I think Donald Trump is going to have to suspend the rule of law as it pertains to these illegals. And this is just a fraction of what the judges have done. Let me take him and move him outside of here, because this was a very important response. And I'm looking to see what happens. But I mean, if we just look at the news over the past week, this judge filed an order to stop Trump from doing something. This one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. So it's been 7 judges, and all of them petitioning against the removal of illegal aliens. Every last one of them. Not for the protection of American citizens, not for the protection of our children, not for the rights of American citizens, not for your gun rights, not for your First Amendment rights, not anything to do with you. Purely illegals. And it's to the point to where it's utterly disgusting. And I want to bring out something else to you. Remember, Gilmore Abrega Garcia. The narrative of Gilmore Abrega Garcia has fell off, right? And I'll tell you, the reason why the narrative died. Because blatantly anti-American. They decided they were going to travel to a foreign nation and demand that we get them back. They gaslit about the tattoos. And then his wife came out. The most significant thing that happened was his wife. And all the reports that came out about Gilmore Abrega Garcia's wife. When I tell you, that was the most significant thing that happened. That broke this narrative and this gaslighting. It's totally and utterly ridiculous. So that's done. Now, here's the unique thing. Gilmore Abrega Garcia is a prototype or an example of what the Democratic Party does to individuals. So as a group, they violate groups of people. When it comes down to the individual level, they use those individuals to create a narrative. And when that narrative is no longer any good, they toss that person away. You ain't hear nothing else about Gilmore Abrega Garcia. You ain't hear nothing about this guy at all. Is he a bad guy? I believe he's a bad guy. Is he a criminal? It's clearly enough evidence that he's a criminal because he came across the border illegally. They used him. They used them like a tool, and now they're done with them. And that's all it boils down to. And that same using of him is what has led to the Democratic Civil War. And this war is raging on levels that I don't think people understand. The last article that we covered was John Fetterman, when they said he was in the spotlight about family and friends, right? Well, since then, if I'm not mistaken, today they announced that they threw him out of the party. Let me get this off the screen. These little lines off the screen, they're disgusting. Let me go see if I can find this. I'll be right back. Watch this. John Fetterman. It was an article I saw that said he was out of the party. There it is. And I told you guys then that they were targeting John Fetterman. It was obvious that he was being targeted. When we covered this, it was blatantly obvious that that man was about to be a target. I want to make sure I put this here, and then we'll go ahead and read it. All right, while we're waiting on you to do what you need to do, because for whatever reason, you're acting stupid. He needs to resign. Democrats react to with quiet shock to damning John Fetterman profile. Tuesday, the 6th of May, Pennsylvania senator broke down crying and threatened to skip Hegset's vote. He had serious car wreck that injured his wife, New York Magazine. This is crazy because all this stuff, let me let this witch talk.
Speak on the Republicans is a big topic of discussion among Democrats. What's your response to Senator Fetterman?
He's not the one to talk about anything. I mean, this is a guy that doesn't seemingly want to own a suit. I'm not really sure. But I don't show up in hoodies when I'm going on the floor. And so the idea that you would say that we could not have a moment in which an influencer asked us to do this. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you and tell you that when she asked me to jump, I said, did you ask my older colleagues to do this? Because I feel like you're picking on me because you think that my needs are a little younger. And I did not know who all was in this particular trend whatsoever. And I think that it is important that people see that we're real people. And even if that means that there's a moment to laugh, that's okay, especially since it seems like we're doing more crying than anything. But just know that we were not on the House floor jumping around at all, whereas Senator Fetterman is consistently walking around the Senate chamber, and he is walking around in such a way that they literally had to change the rules in the Senate so that he could walk around that way. So I just don't think that he's necessarily the one to actually have an opinion about this.
Now, the interesting thing about John Fetterman was he came into the Senate wearing the same crappy clothes that he's always wore, and all of a sudden he's an issue. Well, he's an issue because they want to get rid of him because he's a threat for some reason. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what he's done other than the no vote on Pete Hegseth. Let me see. This is all old stuff. Let me go back. Let me see if I can find anything else on him. Six days ago. Oh, this is just an assault on the man. It's just an assault on him. Because he's a threat. Interesting enough, though, that they target him because the Democratic Party, the extreme left of the Democratic Party, is a cult. And so he's not in line with the cult, so they're singling him out, kicking him out of the herd, and now they're trying to kill him. They're trying to destroy him. I don't know that it's going to be possible for them to destroy him. I know they're going to try to. I don't know that it's possible. I think they're going to try and get him to get in line. I don't even know that's possible when you start to attack his family life and bring up stuff that was blatantly obvious. And to me, this is the blackmail leverage that they had over him, and they're playing out their leverage, and I just don't see that leverage being effective in this environment. Not in this political environment where everybody knows that the Democratic Party is crazy. I don't see it working with Jasmine Crockett, of all people, coming out and saying anything. I don't think Jasmine Crockett has the clout to damage his brand. I just don't see her having that level of clout. Kathy Hochul is going to be targeted as well.
Joining us right now is the Democratic governor of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul. It's good to have you here, Governor. Thank you so much. Let's start there where Mark and Sarah were talking about the president saying that he does not know if every person on U.S. soil should be afforded due process under the Constitution. What do you make of that after hearing the president?
He basically said that he doesn't have to follow or even understand what the Constitution of the United States requires of every person who takes that oath of office. I took the same oath of office 31 years ago to run for town board. I knew I was supposed to uphold the Constitution. I got to think of...
Why does she look at that damn cartoon character by her teeth? Why?
President who took the oath of office not once but twice understands that there are limitations, and that is the body of the Constitution. He must follow it. Otherwise, the democracy that we fought for and upheld for 250 years is just going to go down the drain, and we're not going to let that happen. But it was shocking, and it tells you all you need to know about this presidency and this man, that he doesn't give a damn about the U.S. Constitution, and that is frightening in itself.
Also, overnight...
Let me stop and say this. Trick, none of you dirty sandy beaches give a damn about the U.S. Constitution. Y'all open up the borders and let hundreds of millions of people into the United States of America. That is the pot calling the kettle beyond black. That's the pot spray painting the damn kettle black. You're crazy. And then to even have the word Constitution roll off your lips, it's insane. And so now all of this is about, and we know this is the Communist News Network, the CNN, the Communist News Network, the Chinese News Network. So now the Chinese News Network wants to say that, and she phrased it very uniquely, he doesn't have to abide by the Constitution for people living in the United States, which makes their constituents believe that he's talking about citizens. He needs to suspend habeas corpus and round them up and toss them out. And anybody that gets in the way, round them up and toss them out as well. It's at the point to where you're going to have to choose, do you support the citizens of America or do you support this invasion? And I tell you, if we went back in time, probably just to the 1970s, all these people be in jail. If you went back to the 50s, all of them be in prison. You went back to 1910 or 1920, oh yeah, they all be in prison right now. Every last one of these people be in prison. No doubt about it. They would all be in prison. I want to cover something else. Let me go to X real quick. Something I saw that was very interesting. Super duper interesting. Give me a second. We ain't even gonna get into that one. We're not gonna get into that today. We're not gonna get into Scott Bassett with these crazy people. We're not gonna get into the artificial wombs. But let me just say this. Remember I did a video on chimeras and how they said they were trying to pass a bill in the Senate to stop people from creating chimeras. This is them bragging about what they've already done directly in front of your face. It's an artificial womb where they can grow a chimera. So, like in a cryptid field, people like DW, what do you think about the dog man, the Bigfoot, and where they come from and this? Hey, there it is right there. You want to know where all the genetically modified stuff come from? It comes from cow wombs and these artificial wombs. I've said this on interviews over and over and over again. I don't know if that's a real baby or what's in there, but this is what they've been doing. It's not like it's something new. It's what they've been doing. All right, that's not even what I want to talk about. Now I'm going to talk about Jasmine Crockett. This is what I wanted to get to. This right here is what I had to get to. And it's going to sound real controversial. But you see, when they start setting up altars to overweight black women around the United States of America.
Inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy. I have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lead. Clap your hands like sing along.
This is the woke left memorializing the destruction of the black family. And I know it's going to sound crazy. DW, what you talking about? What do you do once you conquered something? You take over a land, you conquer that land, you start to put up statues as a memorial of you conquering. This right here is a sign of the conquering of the black community forever. And somebody said that don't make no sense. If they didn't choose a statue of what would be the ideal black woman, they didn't choose a statue of that black woman with a black man and black children. It's a statue of a plus size black woman, 12-foot tall statue of that. And if you can't understand that in context to everything that you see going on, whether it be the breaking of relationships in the black community, like husband and wives, you know, the divorce rate, the children in the streets running wild in Chicago. In fact, let's go here. Chicago. Getting ready to go into the summer. Stuff like this.
Another neighbor told us he wants Mayor Brandon Johnson to take action.
I think he's too lenient. I think he needs to start being more aggressive with what's going on. I think he needs to add more police to the city, have them start doing something instead of just doing what they can. And I think they need to start nipping it and, actually holding people accountable for their actions.
Well, the video shows officers responding to the scene, sending people running. But Chicago police tell us they have no information about the incident tonight.
Nah, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. We can find another one. Now, I need you to understand something. And offense makes it hard for people to see this. But the globalists have set up the white community and the black community to go to war. It's why everywhere you look, all over social media, you see a video of a black kid beating up on some white kid, right? We had the incident where the young man stabbed the guy in the heart. I forgot the kid's name, forgot both of their names. And then that kid raises money and they go buy a house and do all this insulting things. The dad comes over, they throw the dad out. Then we have the video of the white woman, forgot her name, don't matter. She used the N-word, called somebody nigga. And then they try and make it go viral, and then she gets money donated. As we go into the summer, they're trying to get another summer of rage. Then we have the father who comes out, his son, I think he pointed a gun at the cop, and the cop smokes him, and then the dad drives the vehicle and rolls over a police officer. Then they have all the video footage of the dad looking at the police. Guys, see, the globalists want to collapse, but they want a race war inside the collapse. So they've preconditioned race war to be the reason of the collapse, and unfortunately they've set up black women as the model, not even a model, as the one to take the full-on blame for the collapse. They really have. You know what I'm saying? So look at this. Keep watching the waters. # Black Lives Matter. Watch this. Get back to it. That's one statue. That's another statue. In Italy. Why are you putting up a statue of a black woman in Italy with a cell phone? It's altars. And it's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And then you come and you get a Jasmine Crockett. And you get a loudmouth black woman who don't make no damn sense, but they usher her into the spotlight. And we know she was ushered into the spotlight because we know we have these damn voting machines, and here she goes.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law murderers and the sexual abusers, as well as the robbers, they want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. It is not a...
And she's playing a role. And the craziest thing is, the average black person don't see this. You being set up. I mean, literally being set up. Been being set up. But you come into agreement with this stupidity and this foolishness and this craziness. Another example. And it's supposed to be what they present of black women.
Back out, so we finished
It's a
the
wrap.
first episode.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I need a drink. I need a drink. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And we gonna eat. We gonna drink. We gonna party. We gonna eat. We gonna drink. And we gonna be back tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in the back, they're like working.
Okay, come back.
It's a damn shame, man. It truly is. It's a damn shame. You don't think there's a reason why she look exactly like this damn, well, like she look exactly like this damn statue right here? Or this statue right here? I mean, it really is a damn shame, man. And then when you talk about it, social media act like you the devil and they don't want to let you get no views. But it's just the honest to God truth. It's the biggest setup that man, it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. Watch this, watch this. And then you got brothers like this out here, he be breaking it down. Why, watch.
Yet again, you motherfuckers get nothing for your vote. They done marched your ass up and down the motherfucking thing, sung you buku fucking song, all that to finally write a bill for people in fucking El Salvador. They just wrote the Democrats just wrote a human rights bill for people in fucking El Salvador. Not you, not the person that fucking been paying the fucking taxes for them, not the fucking person that was marching with them, not the fucking person that fucking voted for them. They would fucking made a bill for people in El Salvador. Now tell me how the fuck they help you. Tell me how the fuck do that help your stupid ass? While you over there championing all this other shit, woo, woo, woo. And then later on you gonna be hollering about DEI didn't work for you and all this other shit. You stupid motherfuckers. This what they got y'all hook, line, and sinking with the Democrats. You stupid motherfuckers are the dumbest. They just wrote they had you marching while they wrote a bill for people in El Salvador. One nigga.
And I can understand why he get mad, because it's why I don't really deal with like black issues. You know, they got like YouTubers who specialize in like black Republicans. They say, I don't deal with it, bro, because it's nonsensical. It'll piss you off just like that. Because it's just blatantly obvious. All right. That's why I don't even want to touch on this stuff, because it start getting under my skin. Get under my skin. All right, guys, I'll be back with another video. I'm out. Deuces.